Here's the pitch. Line drive, there it is! Into left field! Hit number 3,000! A run is scored! Musial ran first, on his way to second with a double! Holy cow!
Hank Gibson is one strike away from the no-hitter. He takes off his cap, he mops his brow, he looks in and gets the sign. He starts the windup. Here's the pitch, and it's a strike called! A no-hitter for Gibson! Smith corks one into right down the line. It may go! Go crazy, folks! Go crazy! It's a home run, and the Cardinals have won the game by the score of 3-2 on a home run by the Wizard.
Breaking ball, hit off the pitcher, to the third baseman, down play, base hit, 3,000 for a home run.
Breeze hits it in the air to center. We will see you tomorrow night.
Suter from the belt to the plate, a swing and a miss, and that's the winner! That's the winner! A World Series winner for the Cardinals!
Left center, Bader, diving catch, what a play! Carpenter with a drive, into left center, at the wall, gone! It's gone! Three-run homer, Carpenter! DeYoung with a drive, into deep left, at the track, at the wall, gone! Cardinals have the lead! The 2-2. Fowler swings and sends a ball into the right field corner. Hayward up and over the fence. Hayward got a glove on it. But Dexter Fowler has just walked it on. Michaelis with a drive. Deep left field. First career hit. Gone! A home run. He does it in style. A two-run shot for his first major league hit. Julio to the drive. Into center. It's at the wall. Look it up. A remarkable comeback for the Cardinals. Here's a 1-2 pitch. And a strikeout. Ponce de Leon, his first strikeout in the major leagues. There he goes, and Molina from his knees. Oh, my! Wow!
Hi, I'm Miles Michaelis,
This is Marshall Falk,
and you're listening
and you're listening
to The Usual Suspects.
to The Usual Suspects.
Well, hey, what's up, guys? I'm Brad, and no Aaron tonight. Sorry for those of you who are here that are all about watching Aaron talk and me and him. He's kind of got some big things on his plate. So I'll tell you what I'll do. I'll tell you what. I will throw Aaron's Twitter handle up here, at AaronMSTL, and what I want you guys to do is go on there, and he made a comment earlier today. Was it earlier today? Earlier today. Aaron is now engaged. He and Mrs. Aaron, or the future Mrs. Aaron, have, he popped the question. She said yes, so make sure you jump onto his Twitter feed there and tell him congratulations. Tell the happy couple congratulations. I'm super excited for him and her. I think they are going to have a wonderful life together, so make sure that you jump in there and tell them congratulations. And then, if you want, you can jump over to my feed and tell me hi. I'm at Range Brad. You can find me on Twitter, and you can talk to me there. I'm very interactive. If you want to follow the show, if you haven't followed the show, I'm kind of curious of how you found us, but you can follow us at Mutual_Suspects on Twitter. You can also follow us on Facebook. If you are currently watching on YouTube, you can follow us on Facebook at facebook.com/MutualSuspects. And then if you're on Facebook, what I'd like to ask you guys to do is to jump over to YouTube, hit that subscribe button, search Mutual Suspects. Make sure you spell it correctly, because if you YouTube has a tendency to autocorrect it to Musical Suspects, and then you'll just get some weird dance troupe, and that's just not us. So Mutual Suspects, search that on YouTube. You'll find us there. Go ahead, give the channel a like and a subscribe. Doesn't cost you a dime, and it helps us. And if you're watching on Facebook, go ahead and like it. Actually, whatever platform you're on, give us a like. We'd greatly appreciate it. Okay, like I said, My name is Brad, and holy cow, what a roller coaster of a ride it's been since we took 2 of 3 from San Francisco. So let me see if I can sum this up correctly. We took 2 of 3 from San Francisco. Really good. Then we played the Baby Bears, and we took 3 of 4 from the Baby Bears. Really good. Then we played the Reds, and they took 2 of 3 from us, which is not good. What I want to talk about is I want to talk about that Cubs series just a little bit. Most of you guys probably have had this with all the other podcasts that are out there. Most of you guys have probably talked to somebody about this anyway, and they've probably beaten it into the ground. Cardinals took 3 of 4. Probably should have been a complete sweep. What do you mean? I have you really go search it, Patty. Patty says we're curious about the Usual Suspects. We'll go look it up and see what happens. It's a dance troupe, and all that fun stuff. So, and then we'll talk. Darren wants to know about the pitcher that we got. I don't know too much about the pitcher, but we'll talk a little bit about that and what he kind of projects to be. Joe, I'm 100% on board with that. Definitely should have been a sweep. Definitely should have been a sweep. There's no excuse for giving up 5 runs in the 9th inning and that whole thing. So let's just talk about that real quick. Mike Shildt got angry in the post-game press conference. Mike Shildt was probably already angry before even walking in there. I know I would be. I would be incredibly frustrated with my guys if they did that. So he came in there. I think he took 2 questions and then was ready to leave. And then BK from 101 wanted to get a couple more questions in there. He asked a question about what was the line of thinking behind taking out Oviedo when you did. And Mike, did it, and he was kind of huffy about it, but it wasn't like too bad. And then he asked, why did you go with Garcia? And then it was all downhill from there, and Mike Shildt got kind of real sassy. He didn't like being second guessed, and that's okay. But if you're going to be a major league manager and your team is scuffling, which the Cardinals are because they sit at 50-50 right now, that's 500, and that's below what we expected and probably what these guys expected for themselves. This team is underperforming. You have to be able to answer or handle the tough questions. And I don't think he did well under pressure there. So he got a little sharp with BK, and he was like, well, it's the right call. Now, I don't like the way he said his answer, but I agree with him. Going with Garcia was the right call. When it was 5-1 or 6-1, there's no reason to expect that you need to go with a Gallegos or a Reyes. That's not necessary in that situation. Now, where I got frustrated with him was, okay, so Garcia got into some trouble. I would say unfairly so. Wisdom reached base because Yadi stabbed at a ball instead of blocking it. I know that things are tough for him. I know that he's hurt and I know that he's sore. But there's a time and a place to be when that doesn't matter. And when that doesn't matter is when it's not the bottom of an inning and that runner could potentially reach base. If that's just like the first pitch of an at-bat and there's nobody on base, okay, just throw your glove at it. And if it goes to the backstop, it goes to the backstop. It doesn't matter. But when that can be strike 3, you've got to get down and you've got to block that ball. There's no excuse for not blocking it. There's no excuse. And if he's sore or if he's tired, there's no excuse that you're not taking a day off to let Kisner play. Which in the Cincinnati series, we saw that Yadi actually was injured or got a day off or something. And he wasn't well enough to, I guess they were expecting him to bat in the first game. But then when he grabbed the bat, he tightened up and then he couldn't, he was a no-go. And so we got to see Adam Wainwright bat. But then Kisner played the next game, which meant that Yadi was still down, and then Kisner started the third game, which meant that Yadi is still down. So I'm not really sure. I haven't read too much on where he's at with that, and I would have to look into that a lot. But it is what it is, right? Now Kisner's getting some starts. It's what we all wanted. And we just want Yadi to rest so that he's healthy and fresh for the rest of the season. We need him down the stretch. He is a key player to this team. when we complain about Yadier Molina, or at least when I complain about Yadier Molina, I'm not complaining that he isn't good. When Yadi is rested and healthy, he is very good. But Father Time will catch up with you. As the season goes on, it's a grind, and there's not a position on a baseball field that is more of a grind than being a catcher. I say this from experience. I used to catch. I've had 3 knee surgeries. It wears on you, and it doesn't matter how much you put on in the gym. You're wearing the heavy equipment out there, you're squatting the whole game, and St. Louis in July and June is sweltering. So Yadi has to take a break to keep himself fresh and ready to go for the stretch run, for the playoffs and stuff like that. And I know you guys are like, well, they're not going to make the playoffs. Well, no, maybe not. Maybe they will. I don't know. Crazier things have happened. There's plenty of baseball left. There's 62 games left. There's a lot of baseball left. That's more than the amount of games they played all of last year. So think about that. Anyway, Yadi has to keep himself fresh. Kisner's a good backup. Give him some reps. Well, Kisner got his reps. So, Mike Shildt lost his mind whenever he asked him about that. He said it was the right call. I agree with Mike Shildt. I don't agree with how he lost his mind about making the call, but I do agree with the decision he initially made. Going with Garcia is fine. You've got a 5-run lead. You should be able to get 3 outs without giving up 6 runs. All right? So, where he lost me is when I could see that Reyes didn't have it. Now, when Reyes didn't have it, Shildt stuck with him. Reyes walked in a run. Shildt stuck with him. All right. So if you are my guy, if you're my closer, and you walk in a run, you're done. That's it. You don't get any more chances to get any more outs. But Mike Shildt didn't do that. He stuck with him. Walked in another run. Okay. Well, this lead is getting lower and lower, and then he gives up a hit, and then he gives up another hit, and then you lose the game because the Cubs took the lead. And then he brought in Gallegos. Now, Mike Shilt's argument for bringing in Garcia was, and it's what Darren was saying here earlier, Gallegos and Reyes have been overused, and he wanted to give them a day off. Well, going with Garcia is fine, but he ended up using Gallegos and Reyes that day, and then they weren't available the next day. So you're darned if you do, you're darned if you don't, but I don't stick with Reyes that long. I don't think that Mike Matheny loses that game, and I don't think that Tony La Russa loses that game. And the reason I say Mike loses that game is because Mike stuck with Reyes, who didn't have it that day, too long. Should have never let him do it. Anyway, so the Cubs, but other than that, they won every other game in that series, so as much as that hurt the team, or as much as that loss hurt, ultimately, if I would have told you going in that series we're going to take 3 of 4, but the one loss we're going to take is going to be really bad. I think Cabrera had already pitched, Darren. The one loss we're going to take is going to be really bad, really hard, and you're not going to like it, and it's going to look stupid. I think every one of you would say, yeah, we'll take 3 of 4 from the Cubs. We'll go with that. Now, let's get into this Cleveland series. And Patty, you kind of are leading me into this. All right. Mike Shildt was talking about his frustrations with the umpires. I have started following this umpiring grading account. I forget exactly what it is. If it was, I would share it with you guys on Twitter. But what they do is they give a score to the umpire, percentage of calls correct based on strike zone. And, there's some just little different things. Percentage of calls incorrect, and then they also do how the missed calls, how the blown calls favor one team or another, if they favor one team or another. And so I'm scrolling down, and you go to this if you go to this Twitter handle, and if Aaron were here, I'd let Aaron talk and I'd look it up and then I'd share it with you guys. But you'd scroll down and you can see 0.06 was the least amount of runs favored to a team, which is just spectacular. There are human umpires. They're not going to be perfect. They're going to make mistakes. But CB Buckner was bad. He was atrocious. That each pitcher, well, I say each pitcher, the pitcher, at least for the Reds, had 6 inches, 3 on either side of the plate. So he had 6 extra inches of strike zone, which is just, it's not fair. Hitting major league pitching is tough enough when the strike zone is what it should be, let alone making it that much wider. So CB Buckner did a terrible job. But anyway, I started looking, and even in this last game that the Cardinals won, I forget the name of that umpire. It started with a T. His strike zone, his job behind the plate favored the Reds by 1 run, 1.3 actually runs, and the Cardinals still ended up winning that game with an offensive explosion, thank the Lord. But when you go back and you look at the scorecards for all these umpires, the umpires were favoring the Reds. Their calls, their missed calls, favored the Reds by a run or close to it. And then you looked at all the other umpires across the majors, and the highest was like 0.64, and that was Angel Hernandez, and he's garbage. Now, his percentages of getting the calls right were way lower than either one of the umpires the Cardinals had, but he got the calls. I mean, his strike zone was bad, but it was equally bad for both teams. And really, honestly, if the strike zone is bad, as long as it's a consistent strike zone, it's a consistently bad strike zone, you can adjust. And as long as it's the same strike zone for each team, I can live with that. I'm not a super big fan of robot umpires. I think that you guys think you want them, and then you'll get them, and you'll be like, I don't like this at all. I hate everything about this. Of course, I think some of you guys out there on Twitter, just like to complain anyway. So... And I feel you. I like to complain too. It's fun. Just vent it, get it all out, put it on Twitter, let everybody talk about it. But the umpiring was atrocious in this. And not only was it atrocious, it was one-sided. The calls didn't ever go the Cardinals' way. That leads me into the second thing that kind of went wrong with this series. The reason why the Cardinals didn't do well is I believe you had, and what did I do with my phone? I believe you had LeBlanc, and you also had Woodford making starts and Oviedo. So, of the Cardinals starting pitching that you would want against a division rival, who's ahead of you, who you want to make up ground, what pitchers do you want? You can put them in chat, but I'll tell you right away, I know who they are, and I'll tell you right now, it isn't the 3 that we got. I would have wanted Adam Wainwright going, and I would have wanted KK going. Those 2 pitchers have pitched really well. And if you get those 2 guys going in this game or in this series, could have turned out way different. But instead we had Woodford, LeBlanc, Woodford, and then Oviedo, and that just didn't work out for this team. Even though the game that Oviedo pitched, he got the W. He didn't get the W. He's still winless as a pitcher. It's just kind of stinks that that's how it worked out. But the starting pitching, I believe I read in Bernie's little thing there with Scoops. If you guys aren't following Bernie Miklasz and Danny Mac and you don't watch or get Scoops with Danny Mac, Bernie does a great job of just keeping it real. I remember Jim Joyce, Darren. So Bernie said that the starting pitching had an ERA of like 5-something in this Cincinnati series, and leading up to it, it was 2-something. So you're giving up twice as many runs per game. That's ridiculous, and that you're not going to win many games if your starting pitching can't do that. So while I'm frustrated in the moment, I have to stop, take a step back, and realize that we have 3/5 of our rotation that is young guys who aren't. I mean, that was Woodford's first start this season, wasn't it? And you've got these young guys, and I don't want to say LeBlanc is young, but he is not your prototypical starter. They pulled him off of the DFA pile so that they could have a starting pitching, so they could fill out their rotation. So that's kind of tells you where this rotation is. And then the 3 games that you play the Reds ends up falling on those 3 pitchers, and then you lose 2 out of 3. It's not ideal, but it doesn't give you a really good measurement of where this team is, even though this is where this team is, because 3/5 of the rotation are those guys. But if you get KK and Waino going, it's very easily could have taken 2 of 3 from them, if not 3 of 3. Cincinnati doesn't impress me. Now, the bad news is the good news is they've been winning more games than they've been losing. I think they're 6-4 over the past. Somebody correct my math, but they won 2 against San Francisco lost 1. They won 3 against Chicago, lost 1, won 1 against Cincinnati, lost 2. It should be like 6-4, something around there. But they need to win those games, but they're actually, overall, they have a winning record. They're playing better baseball after the All-Star break than they did before the All-Star break. And that was the other thing I wanted to talk about that Cincinnati series. The bats look good. The game on Sunday was the first game all year that all 3 Cardinals outfielders have homered in the same game. Getting Bader, O'Neill, and Carlson going is going to be huge. And Bader has been immensely valuable since he's come back. He has been on fire. He's played great defense. And guess what? He's one of the best hitters on the team right now. So, A, stop throwing hate toward him. But B, there's something else that he brings to this team, and it's some sort of spark of energy or something. I can't explain it. I don't know what you call it, but if you watch, the team looks different when he's on the field. So y'all out there who hate Harrison Bader because he's got that swagger, get over it. He is valuable to this team. I said that he is the MVP of this team, and in the second half, he has been the MVP thus far. And you can make a statistical argument about it, and you can make a record argument about it. Harrison Bader is the MVP of this team in the second half. Now, you get your offense going. Goldschmidt's still going. You get Arenado back to what he's been doing. This team can be tough. They could make a run. They could climb up. But with all the success they've had so far, guess how many games they've picked up on the Brewers? 0. They have not picked up a game on the Brewers. But what they have done is they picked up 2 games on the second wild card spot. Now, would I like to see the Cardinals win the division? Absolutely. Do I think the Cardinals can catch the Brewers? That's going to be as much on the Brewers as it is on the Cardinals. If the Cardinals continue to play the way that they have been playing this second half, they're going to chip away on that lead unless the Brewers continue to play the way they've been playing. And they have some amazing starting pitching. So for them to fall off, it's going to take some sort of implosion. Now, can the Cardinals catch the Padres? I think they can. The more likely scenario is that the Cardinals catch the second wildcard team than they do the Brewers, but I'd be happy with either one of them. But let's just be realistic. It's a tall order either way because the team is going to have to be something better than a 500 team. They just are. You can't be a 500 team and make the playoffs this year. That's not the way it's going to work. So you've got 62 games left starting tomorrow to get things right and then get on a hot streak. The Cardinals need to rip off like 7, 8 in a row. Speaking of ripping wins off in a row, have you guys seen what the Memphis Redbirds are doing? I think they won 15 in a row, which is outrageous, and it's awesome for that team. So cool for them. Hope they get going. And then, but Darren, I would take a play in because all you got to do is get in, right? You just got to make it in, and then you get hot. That's all you got to do. In 06, I believe it was, in 06, that's when the Cardinals kind of backed into the playoffs. They scuffled down the stretch, but then they got hot and they won the World Series. So you can't win anything in the playoffs if you don't get in. So getting in is important. Winning the division is awesome, but if you win the division and go out in the first round, you might as well have, lost the play-in game. The result is the same. So get into the playoffs. Aim for the one and then aim for the other once you've achieved the other one. So get into that first wild card or second wild card spot and then reel in the Brewers in the possible way. I don't know what that means. There is no wild card advances to October. I think that there are. So pay attention, watch what happens. Just because it hasn't happened yet doesn't mean that it won't happen. Anyway. So, coming up, the Cardinals have 2 games against Cleveland. I think these are both must-win games. You got to win both of them. You got to sweep them, especially after losing 2 of 3. So that's tomorrow at 6:10, and then Wednesday it's a noon game, 12:10. And speaking of Cleveland, I don't know if you guys saw the big hubbub. Cleveland is no longer going to be the Indians, so they're They're going to finish out this year as the Cleveland Indians. And then, because their name is offensive, not offensive to do it right away, mind you, but, at the beginning of next year, it's too offensive to have it next year, but it's not offensive enough to justify changing it in the middle of the year, even though we're going to announce that we changed it in the middle of the year. Doesn't make sense to me. That's what they're doing. They're going to change their name to the Guardians. Now, I like that name. I think that's a cool name. I like the logos that they put up. Those look good too. It's going to be weird for me to think of them as the Cleveland Guardians rather than the Cleveland Indians, but it is what it is, Their ownership team can make that decision. It's their team. Let them make that call. Deal with the fallout, whatever it would be. But they've got a problem, and I'm going to share this with you because this kind of made me laugh a little bit. And I will share this right here. There is the Cleveland Guardians roller derby. So, Cleveland Guardians roller derby is a flat track roller derby league. It's a men's roller derby league. It's home of the Cleveland Guardians, and everybody can play for 18 and up and all this other stuff. And the funny thing to me is they've been there, they're older, they're right. This is their team, this is their name, this is their mascot. Now, it's small enough because what does their page have? 2,600 likes. So it's not like it's this big, huge franchise, but you can't steal their logo. Darren, I don't know why they went with the Guardians. I mean, the video Tom Hanks did for them when they announced the change, and then the Guardians at the bridge that lead up to the stadium, that's still at the beginning of Major League if you go back and watch it and whatever. I don't know why, but Cleveland Guardians, oh, look at this. It moves. The Cleveland Guardians, the roller derby team, has the naming rights. And right now, like when they were asked about it, I believe they said they have no comment. But if I'm the Cleveland Guardian roller derby team, what I do is I sell those naming rights to the Cleveland Indians for a good penny, and then I use that to do what they've been doing, to play roller derby, so you don't have to scrimp around for money. You can get it right away. But I just thought that was funny. It's like, oh, somebody already has that name. So Darren wants to know why they didn't go with the Spiders or the Negro League name. I wasn't in the meeting for that. If I knew why, I would definitely tell you, but I don't. So I apologize for not having that information. If we get more likes and follows on our Facebook and YouTube page and we have a bigger audience, maybe I can get in on those meetings. But as of right now, we don't. So anyway, the Cleveland Guardians are now, the Indians will become the Cleveland Guardians. So the Cardinals are going to play the Cleveland Indians / Guardians in the next two games. I believe you got Wainwright and KK going in those two games, and the Cardinals need to win both. Now, last year I believe the Indians beat up on us pretty bad, but that was last year. This is this year. Win these two games. Get these two wins. Make up for the two that you lost against Cincinnati, and then keep rolling. Okay, and then the last thing that I kind of want to talk about tonight, and I know it's kind of a short show, but I don't know if you guys have been paying attention to what's been going on with Trevor Bauer, but Trevor Bauer has gotten himself into a world of a mess. So Trevor Bauer had everything going for him at the beginning of the season. What ended up happening was Trevor Bauer created a vlog. He was gaining popularity on Twitter. He got a big old contract with the Dodgers, and he was having a really good year with the Dodgers. He was doing all of this. And then he had this vlog on YouTube, which I was following because it was really interesting to me. I like to get into the minds of controversial guys on baseball teams and whatnot. I like to see what their thoughts are, their thought process is at least. And no, Patty, I think that Waino and KK it was just those guys' times in the rotation. You pitch every fifth day. But anyway, back to Trevor Bauer. So Trevor Bauer had all these things going for him. I mean, that YouTube page, that vlog was going like gangbusters. And then a young lady reported some abuse and made abuse allegations, and now he's got all sorts of legal trouble. He has been suspended. I don't know if he's suspended, but anyway, he's not pitching for the Dodgers. And the really crazy thing about this is that the Dodgers players aren't really saying much, and if you do hear something from them, it's kind of this we're going to go a different direction thing. So this allegation or accusation, I'm going to call it an accusation because you're innocent until you're proven guilty, and that's the way I feel. I don't think that, as stupid as this sounds, and you guys may hate me for saying this, if we don't have innocent until proven guilty in this country, we don't have a justice system. So, until Trevor Bauer is tried and convicted, and I'm open to that being the possibility because I have no idea what happened. Until he's tried and convicted, I'm going to treat him as he is innocent because that is what the law says, and that is what we need to do as a country. We don't need to be stringing people up because we think they're guilty. Innocent until proven guilty, and then when proven guilty, let him have it. But that kind of brings me to what's going on. So what's going to happen with him with the Dodgers? Well, I forget who it was. Dave Roberts. Was it Dave Roberts? No, I don't want to say the wrong guy. One of the players, they had a reunion thing, and because Trevor Bauer was still on the team and it was just administrative leave, thank you for that, Darren, because it was just administrative leave, he stayed away. He said, I'm not coming because that guy doesn't need to be on the team. You need to cut him and leave. Trevor Bauer deserves his day in court. He deserves his day in court. I believe that every person who commits a crime deserves their day in court. Every person who has been accused of a crime deserves a day in court. But the talk is like he's not going to be back as a Dodger, and he might have ended his major league career. And frankly, if he did what he's being accused of, then it should cost him his career. I have no problem with that. I'm 100% behind that. But I'm not behind it costing him his career. I'm not behind it costing him his job until it's proven that he actually did what he is alleged to have done. So some of you guys can give me hate. You can @ me on Twitter. I'll talk about it with you and just kind of explain where I'm coming from, as long as we're polite. So if you don't agree with me there, @ me on Twitter, @RangeBrad. Tell me I don't agree with you, but be polite. Let's have a civil discussion. I'll explain where I'm coming from, because believe me, I don't think what he's accused of doing is a good thing to do or an okay thing to do just because he's a good pitcher. I would expect this for any one of you. If you guys were accused of something, I would take the same stance. You are innocent until proven guilty. And then if you're proven guilty, I'm going to be like, you're guilty and you deserve everything that's coming to you. And I feel that way about every person out there, because if we don't have that as a justice system, we don't have a justice system. You can't let the mob dictate what the outcome of a trial will be. You are entitled to a trial by peers, and it is the burden of the prosecution to prove guilt. You're not guilty until proven innocent. You are innocent until proven guilty, and you won't ever understand how important that is until you're the one trying to prove your innocence. All right? So, Trevor Bauer probably won't play for the Dodgers the rest of this year, unless it comes out that he didn't do it, and even then, he might not. I don't know what'll happen. You know, sometimes being accused is enough to cost you your job. So he's probably done for the Dodgers this year. You probably won't see the Dodgers in there. As a matter of fact, I think they canceled his bobblehead night. So he was supposed to have a bobblehead coming up, and they canceled that. And then he was also, they've pulled all of his items out of the merch shops and probably offline too. You could probably do a quick search and find out if the Dodgers, if you can get a Trevor Bauer jersey off of the MLB.com website right now. But I think he's done. I think he's not a Dodger anymore. Yeah, they pulled it all out. So whether or not he'll be a major league pitcher, who can say? But holy cow, did everything come crashing down for him very quick. Life can come at you fast. Honestly, I pray that he didn't do what they are accusing him of. But if he did do what they're accusing him of, he deserves everything that's coming toward him. So I think that's all I have for you guys. I'll give you guys a few seconds here. Does anybody else have anything they want to talk about? Did I miss anything? that sort of thing, go ahead and throw that in chat. Again, I'm going to throw up the socials again. You can follow me on Twitter at RangeBrad. You can follow Aaron on Twitter at AaronMSTL. Give him a follow. Give him a shout out. Tell him and his future wife congratulations. You can follow the show on Twitter at usual_suspects. Go on to Facebook, give us a like. We just crossed 500 not that long ago, and I didn't actually look at it before I came on air what we're at now. But thank you all for all of that. I appreciate that. Aaron appreciates that. It's really fun. We do this as two guys just having some fun, and you guys make it all worthwhile, especially when you interact. And then if you want to, or I'm asking you to, if you followed us on those other platforms, might as well jump over to the YouTube page and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Just search Usual Suspects on YouTube, and we will we'll pop up. Subscribe, turn on the notification bell so that you get an alert whenever we go live or post a video. Mainly just do that. Video feed only thing. What's going on, Darren? Is it not a good video feed? Oh, the video feed for the okay. I thought it was our show. No, what Darren's talking about here, he said the video feed, and I missed this in the interview. But apparently, in that game where there was a challenge, but they didn't allow him to challenge the first game that he got thrown out of, or the game that he got thrown out of, they didn't allow him to challenge. He said there was a 27-second delay on his video feed to see if they wanted to challenge it, and when they decided they wanted to challenge it, that had gone, they were past the amount of time, I guess, that you have to challenge. I don't know what the rule is on that, and that's something that I'd have to look up. But, yeah, if that's true, who's that on? Who controls the video feed? Is it the home team? So the rule is 20 seconds, so you have 20 seconds to challenge? Okay. Yeah, that's some shady stuff. And I don't mind. No, I like a fiery shield. Go up there, yell at him if you feel like you need to yell at him. I mean, what can he do? What can you do in that situation, really? And who's monkeying around with the video feed, and why is there a 27-second delay and all that team? So Darren says it is the home team. Cincinnati sucks. How about that? That's some low... that's below the belt, Cincinnati. If you're monkeying with that video feed, below the belt. Unacceptable. If you want to win, beat them fair and square. What the heck? Yeah, okay, so that's why he was mad. He said no when they went 7 seconds over. Such is life. Yeah, we could. We won't. I would argue that the Cardinals haven't been using sticky stuff either. I don't think the Cardinals is an organization that cheats a lot. I know Wainwright's name came up in that article. Yeah, there should be a universal standard, and, Darren, it should be controlled by Major League Baseball, not the home team. I agree. If that's an MLB feed that comes in there, that's the delay, and then MLB can be like, no, it was on our end, we messed up. They get that, to make that challenge. So, anyway, that makes sense. That's kind of lame. That's Bush League, actually, if you stop and think about it. That's not what a organization like Major League Baseball should be doing. That's a bad way of running things, but it is what it is. And when you look at MLB as an organization, are you shocked? Are you really shocked? The sticky check thing, are you shocked? We could look the other way, and then now we're like, oh, yeah, you can't do that, even though we kind of let you do it the whole time anyway. That's... Yeah. Yeah, that needs to be a Major League Baseball feed thing. They need to not... You know what I'm saying? That needs to be a feed to an iPad from a secure network. Just the way you guys can watch me, Major League Baseball could set up a network where you can watch it from the iPad. You just log in and boom, there it is. They could totally do that. So, anyway, things that they need to work on. But we ended up winning. That was on Sunday, right? So we ended up winning that game anyway, and it didn't cost us in the long run, but whatever. It is what it is. Hey, that's kind of it for tonight. Thank you guys for joining me. Thank you for putting up with me. Sorry I couldn't give you a full hour. Right, get it right league-wide or do away with a challenge. Yeah, just get it right. I'm all for that. Again, thank you guys for following me. It's me. This is Aaron. This is the show. This is our Facebook page. Give us a like on the Facebook page. Tell your friends. Share it around. Say, hey, these guys are good, bad, okay. Invite them to watch the show or invite them to watch the train wreck. I don't care. Just have them put eyes on the show. The more feedback we get, the better we can make ourselves. So I appreciate each and every one of you. And then please go over to our YouTube page. Give us a like, subscribe, click the notification bell so you're alerted whenever we go live. You can watch us over there. And again, yeah, thanks for watching, guys. Have a great day. Have a great rest of your week. Go Cardinals. We need to take 2 or 3 from the Reds. We'll talk to you guys next time.